My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
You're listening to Best Quality Vacuum, the Duckfeed show about the extended Vince Gilliverse, where he was born, what he's up to today.
What kind of guest appearance is he making as himself?
Yeah. Is he just a simple country lawyer? Or does he just sound like one? That charming man.
Yeah. And this week we're talking about an episode called Bit by a Dead Bee.
Yes. Bees don't bite.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are some that can.
Yeah, you can get bit by a wasp.
Yeah, wasp bite.
Yeah.
Did you know, Cole? Can I lay some trivia on you?
You may.
You're going to like this. There are more varieties of fig wasp than there are varieties of birds in general. So individual just wasps that the males live out their entire life cycle inside a fucking fig. There are more types of those than there are just birds.
Neat. Insects are fascinating.
Yeah. Fig wasps, man.
Fig wasps. Yeah, that idea always creeped me out. I like a fig. The notion of a wasp inside, not going to stop me from eating a fig, or something made with fig, but it's still a thing.
It's the two things I learned from my fig deep dive recently, studying for the fig cast, was that a lot of commercially produced figs aren't inseminated by wasps.
Oh, okay.
Because they do that. And two, it's more like you're eating the fig and the fig ate the wasp than there was the wasp in it. So if that creeps you out less, like imagining like an apple taking a big bite out of a worm.
Sandwich took a bite out of me. Yeah.
For some reason I find it kind of beautiful that the fig ate the wasp, but then I eat the fig. What's going to eat me?
Savannah.
Anywho, we're way off. I just learned a lot about fig wasps recently.
There's no such thing as a tangent.
Yeah,
is the thing we can bring it back.
Bit by a dead bee. It's related to the fig wasp paradox.
Yeah.
This whole thing. The Bit by a Dead Bee, written by Peter Gould, directed by Terry McDonough. And originally aired in March 22nd, 2009.
Yeah. And this is a consequences episode because we had the high action last time with Grilled, but we're not out of the woods. In fact, this is going to set up a new kind of a new status quo we're going to be dealing with for most of the season as Jesse and Walt try to extract themselves from the trouble of being kidnapped by Tuco.
Yeah, it's not something you come back from super easily.
No.
Not as easily as they think. They both have two different plans for it. We get to see how the beginnings of how those plans work out. Walt has faked a psychological episode, a fugue state, to explain his sudden disappearance. And this is going to have financial consequences. His family is going to be real weirded out by this, both in terms of just weirded out because it's a strange thing to happen and in terms of trust.
Yes.
Such specifically Skylar. This is the kind of final straw for Skylar.
Yeah, this is where the relationship has eroded through. Yeah.
Yes. She's on a bad relationship road.
Yes.
From this point on.
Yeah. For Jesse, he has to paradoxically get himself arrested so he can get an alibi to prove that he was elsewhere and that Tuco actually stole his car and he had nothing to do with the guy.
Yeah. Yep. So with little production detail stuff, Raymond Cruz, I got to keep Tuco's grill preserved in that lucite cube there, which we talked about last time. Phone in, dial 127 if you think that's part of Tuco's body, dial 128 if you think that it's fine to take it. This was eventually auctioned off for charity in 2013.
Yes.
For the commanding sum of $20,000 roughly.
Yeah. Tuco's grill, weirdly, this popped up as like an Easter egg, I believe, in a few different games, but the one I know of is it was put in Rage, the video game Rage, which was also featured in a season 4 episode, I think. Season 4. Yeah,
a perfect WAF game, a game we're gonna have to do at some point.
Yeah. We've got some fandom set at worst here.
Got a couple of them, man.
Yeah. Tuco's dental grill in a clear cube. He was, quote, iced, murdered. Ice also a reference to meth.
Oh, we're getting some real bonfire side chat associated with stuff going on here. The thing that blew my mind, and I've shown this to a couple of people, I think maybe I just was very receptive to it, but nobody's having the reaction I wanted them to.
Okay.
So there's a recurring motif in this where Walt keeps seeing a painting, and the painting has a sailor getting in a little rowboat and leaving his family on the shore. It's not subtle.
Nope.
Like it's just he's disconnecting from his family. Eventually, he's going to leave his family, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. The wiki's all over this. They were saying like it contrasts, this like the painting is kind of melancholy and stuff. Somebody wrote in the wiki, paintings are romanticized when sailors IRL had a secret life free of a secret free life of adventure away from their family, which is the kind of thing you can't quantize or source.
Nope. It's like, literally just there were stories about this.
Like just the idea, like in IRL, like it's such a weird statement for the wiki. IRL painters, sailors actually had this awesome secret life. They didn't have to deal with their family. So it's actually a really good metaphor for Walt where he would win.
Yeah.
And he'd get away from his family and rock.
This is literally just a person grasping at straws trying to make it seem like any part of Walt's story isn't a fucking tragedy for everybody involved.
It's weird. It's weird Walt defensism, which is a hazard of this concern.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ice, a cube, aka ice. It's like Batman solving clues. It's very 60s Batman show.
Oh man! So let's get into it. They
should put it in a lucite sphere or a lucite trapezoid. Like they had to have chosen that shape for some reason.
Oh, what are we thinking here?
It all connects.
I'm gonna get this figured out. God damn it!
I'm gonna solve the world. All right. Sorry.
That's all right. No, so this is another Peter Gould one. What did he write last season? Was
he wrote the kind of silly one?
Yeah,
because I remember us being like, oh, it's the lighter-hearted Peter Gould. I think it was. Episode 6.
It had to have been like right after, and sorry, I really should have looked it up, but just like with this one, kind of getting a real sense of like Peter Gould coming in and being like the Consequences wrecking crew. On this, like, all right, we need somebody to help us put these pieces together because we blew stuff up.
It's the things I associate with him are Consequences and being a little goofy.
Yes.
This episode isn't super goofy, but there's some naked man slapstick.
Yes.
Going on in it.
I like in the cold open.
Yeah. We get so Walt and Jesse are burying Tuco's pistol in the desert and then starting to walk home. And they get to the highway and they hail a hitchhiker. Yeah. They're going to go back separately. Walt's getting in the truck bed here. Mm-hmm. And Jesse, we don't get there's in the podcast, there's a production detail. They talk about how they actually wrote out all of the dialogue of them planning this stuff.
Okay.
That they're going to do, each of them coming, to their scheme here, and then realize it would be better just to show that stuff.
Yeah.
And it is like, instead we just have Jesse being like, are you sure this is the way you want to go with it?
Yeah.
And we get to find out what the plan is after this, which is great.
Yeah. That's how I want to see it. Like it's done very well here. And the way Jesse asks is like, he's really uncertain, and it's real. Like, are you sure there isn't a better way?
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Like, this sucks. You know? And it's pretty likely that not because Jesse's incapable, but I imagine Walt also came up with Jesse's plan.
Yeah.
For this, he has a vested interest in that. I'm sure he's the lion's share of that.
Yeah. So he rides in the truck. Then nighttime, we cut into a grocery store. The front door can't close because it is running into one of Walt's shoes. Read this note of trivia. I didn't recognize the song. There's a Muzak version of Feel Like Making Love by Roberta Flack, kind of a disco ballad kind of thing. I didn't know that song. I thought, is that a Muzak version of Bad Company's I Feel Like Making Love to You, the song that Homer Simpson wrote?
Yeah, they're weirdly different songs.
Yeah.
It was a big style at the time thing, feeling like making love, and you had to write about it.
Yeah.
The clerk in this follows a trail of Walt's clothes. Eventually, we hear like a gasp of another customer when she finds him standing naked in the freezer aisle. I love the way this is shot. We get to see Walt's face turn away from her, where he's given himself like the, okay, let's fucking do this, exhausted. Like, look,
here it goes.
Here it goes, and away we go. Showtime. Still gotta start the show. Yeah, it's well done. Good character work in the face.
Very good. No. Yeah. So this is if you want to get picked up and put in a hospital, this is a very good way to make it happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we go to Walt looking at this painting, this visual motif here of a man rowing away from his family on a canoe. Now, in real life, sailors got to have this fun, adventureful life away from their families.
Yeah.
So this is actually not a great metaphor.
I thought that you were going to say in real life, nobody would ever put this painting in a hospital room.
Oh, it is a pretty funny painting, but I've seen stuff that, like, if you think about it too much, is weirdly dark.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks about this art. It's just hotel Airbnb art that basically is sold by the pound.
Yeah, you just buy it off of you buy it by number off of a catalog. Yeah.
Like, literally no one's ever thought about it. There was no consideration to whether this was put here. Yeah. It was just put up. And the series like says this later. Like, yes. Walt asked that very question, but like, I've been to a couple stores where it feels like they sell this shit. Mm-hmm. It's really weird. Like I'm like, no one would ever put this piece of art up in like their house, but they would put it up in an Airbnb. Mm-hmm. It's such a weird distinction.
Yeah. See, because this is marginally less depressing than a bare wall. Yeah.
And it's super bland. It reminds me of art in The Sims. Like you just get like this kind of shit. Or I guess the Simpsons have that sailboat above their couch, which is really funny.
Marge painted that.
Yeah, no, I love the sailboat, and it's got personal, but yeah, it's a very funny thing.
But Skylar and Junior are here, and they're ecstatic to see him. He's alive. They had feared the worst for so long, and they ask like, "Hey, how do you feel?" He says, "I feel like myself, really." The past couple of days are missing, but other than that, I feel fine. Like he's already really trying to do the reset.
Yeah. He really just thought this would be a one and done kind of thing. Junior mentions Hank's shootout, and Walt is acting. He's lying. He knows about this. He's acting very shocked and appalled by this. Yeah. Skylar calls Marie, and Marie is being Marie.
Yes.
They give you a worst case scenario for this. Like, how bad could it be?
Yeah.
Walt in the supermarket? Which supermarket was it?
Yeah.
Tell
me it wasn't Whole Foods, she says.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man. Marie is doing her own follow-up here. She's at the DA office, annoyed that Hank can't come home on time. And Skylar asks how I was. And she looks out at him, just kind of talking to the guys. Hank, he's indestructible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which we're going to see that Hank, as he goes on this super cop journey, is going to become more and more destructible.
Yeah.
We cut over to Hank in the office giving his report, his version of what happened with Tuco to his supervisors.
This is very studied cop talk.
Yeah. I found an effective shot. Yeah.
Yeah. And the guy in the suit is, incredulous. Like he kind of doesn't believe the story that he's hearing because it is a pretty big coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Why would Hank be in that situation?
Actually my brother was there. It is a big coincidence, but it's even bigger than they think.
Yes. And it's like, why would you be in that situation with no backup? You're on your personal time. Are you like going and doing vigilante stuff? He's like, no, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Family stuff. They ask about Jesse's car and he says he's working on it. So that's going to give him his thing. We cut over to Jesse and Badger. They've made up. Mm-hmm. They're hanging outside of the cops circling Jesse's place. Yeah. There's a cute little bit here in the podcast where the line, Badger says like, they don't give up. They're like Jehovah's Witnesses. Mm-hmm. And Matt Jones says Jehovah Witnesses. without the S. And like the director or like the person who was shooting that day was going to correct him, and they like had to rush to stop him. They're like, no, that's better.
That's
like
way
that's
better.
what he would say.
Yeah.
You know, Jehovah Witnesses.
Yeah, it is a perfect bit of characterization.
Yeah.
It's like Homer saying, "I'm so smart." SMRT. I mean SMART. Like,
Yeah.
just a little actor mistake that, like, yeah, no, you have to keep that in.
Yeah. They're watching the cops check out Jesse's place. You know, Badger's like, why don't they just kick the door down? And Jesse's like, they don't have probable cause.
Right.
You know.
And when the cops leave, they go and they empty out the basement. Badger is really kind of offended that Jesse had access to all this. He says, you know, like, I'm in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory here.
Yeah,
you know?
take me down your chocolatey meth river.
Yeah.
Badger's so funny. He's like a Tux Avery cartoon. You know, like his eyes just turn into big meth crystals. Like, and he just wants to cook up a whole batch just so he can, you know, just have it.
Just real quick, you know?
Yeah. Can't we just do this? Can we just stink up the entire neighborhood real quick here? And he tries to leverage him. He's like, hey man, I haven't forgotten being stranded in the desert. And I love Jesse just like, don't fuck with me, Badger. Like Jesse cannot handle this right now.
Yeah.
You know? It's very tricky.
I love them also having trouble moving the barrel of methylamine.
Mm-hmm. That thing. It's very McTeague. It's very Tooth and McTeague.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great too, because Badger figured he'd save a trip by wearing a gas mask, and they loaded it into the RV. He pulls it off. He says, that was a bad choice.
Yeah. It's very good. So Badger's cousin's coming down to tow the RV.
God, I love Badger's cousin. He's such a shit kicker.
Yeah, he's you get him and you contrast him with the Candy.
Oh yeah,
from El Camino, like the other like kind of guy who works in industry.
Yeah,
and then the old guy. Like there's some good old industry crooks, and there's some real shitheads.
It's man, like outside of the crookedness, you know, I can't make that assumption about people. Guys like this are like 80% of the people around where I live. It's ridiculous.
We get an origin thing of here. You know, important character moment. So he's towing the RV away. He asks for 1,000, but Jesse doesn't have it. He has like 560. He promises him he'll get him the other half, and this is where the your word is your bond came from. This is going to be a continuing motif with Jesse. It's going to be big in El Camino. You know, Jesse, if he says he's going to do something, he'll do it. Yeah,
I didn't draw that connection.
No. So he goes over the plan. Jesse, you know, says, hey, you know, you call the cops in a couple hours, you do it from a payphone, you don't use your real name. They're going to need probable cause. I'm going to give it to them.
Right. And we cut back over to Walt. He's talking to the doctors about what he remembers, you know, like, oh, I remember, you know, like driving home, but that was it. And then I've got some fleeting images of like headlights and being afraid. Like he's given a real like Hollywood version of what
super vague.
Yeah, an amnesia
there were headlights.
Incident. Yeah.
It was on a highway. I think there were headlights. You know, the oncologist says, you know, the MRI didn't turn up any metastasis. It didn't go into his brain. There's no sign of seizure or stroke, you know, and Walt and Skylar kind of backs him up, try to blame the medication. They're like, I'm on all these pills and stuff. But the doctors know what the pills do. If the pills caused amnesia, they'd let you know. You know, you can't just like hand wave that.
This is a really smart strategy for Walt to take. With Skylar, because she's already skeptical of the medicine and stuff, right? Like she wants the Eastern kind of deal. Like he can get her on his side for some of this, right? But it's not enough. The subject quickly turns back to Walt's stress. Yeah,
very briefly. You know, they order a psych eval, and they're going to keep him in the hospital. He protests about this, and they're like, you know, this is not a little thing, man.
Yeah,
like if you stayed serious, what if it happens if you're driving? You know, you could be a danger to others. Like we cannot let you out, and this is not what Walt bargained for.
He didn't think this through, just like Jesse didn't think his plan through. What with the money and all.
Yeah. I mean, Jesse, he thought he was going to be escaping. You know, he grabbed his money and put it in his car. He didn't expect to get too good.
Yeah. But just in terms of like, okay, I'm going to forfeit the car, you know, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Could have grabbed the money out of it. Well, no, they couldn't have because Hank was there.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I don't know the set. To me, the sad part about this, like, I think Jesse plays this about as well as he can.
Yeah.
The shitty part is Walt taking a couple episodes to give him some money.
Yeah, that's it's fucking awful.
Yeah, hard to tolerate Walt during that part.
Yeah.
So we get to Jesse getting raided. He's at the hotel there, and the DEA team raids him. Yeah. He's in there with Wendy. They bust in and arrest him.
Yeah. And Hank is just a big shit-eating grin. Jesse Pinkman, I presume.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, he's loving this.
Yeah.
Even though it's not going to work out for him either.
Mm-hmm. And then now we're in the interrogation room, and Hank does not believe that Jesse was partying for 3 days. Oh, so you didn't leave? What about food? Fun. We had takeout. Well, where? No, the vending machine. We survived for 3 days on Funyuns and Hot Pockets.
Again, another little fun detail. The podcast picking up a little bit. The director of this is from England and did not have Funyuns or Hot Pockets, so they had to send people out to show him what Funyuns and Hot Pockets were.
Oh, I'm sure that sat well with him.
Yeah, just like, hell yes, dude. This colony makes sense. But yeah, the vending machine hotel life.
Yeah.
Here.
And Jesse acts excited because, hey, you found my car. This is great. And it's like, hell yeah, DEA.
Yeah, it's very cute. Well acted. And then they play their trump card. Gomi, says, yeah, we also found this. They pull out the bag. It's got all his money in it. And Gomi says, it's a good thing Tuco's already dead, because if I lost that kind of money, I'd kill myself. It's like $67,000 or something.
Knowing full well that it is probably Jesse's.
Yeah.
They're kind of dangling it over, and I'm seeing like, oh, is he going to try and claim responsibility for this money? Obviously it's very suspicious, but Jesse is smart enough not to jump and take the bait. Yes.
So they're going to go cross-examine, and they're going to talk to Wendy. Classic cop shit. Mm-hmm. He says something during this, and this, I think that I expressed confusion about this, and now I'm really embarrassed about it. Hank keeps saying, how much for a Wendy? And remember, did we expressed confusion about that, right?
I don't believe we did. I always took it as like blowjob, Wendy blowjob.
Yeah, it's a blowjob. I think that I, on some level, didn't. I think it's a kind of a dumb stretch for Hank.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but it's not clever. Like, right. Wendy blowjob. But for some reason that popped into my head more clearly this episode.
Yeah. But yeah, she is agitated because she's in police custody. She has to pee. They're sweating her out. They're denying her a root beer, right? Like that.
Yeah. She loves sugary drinks.
Yeah, she loves them sugary drinks. Yeah. But she's agitated, and we get real like just classic old shit, early season shitty Hank, just making jokes about her being a sex addict or something.
Yeah,
and being a sex worker or stuff. Yeah. But he mentions like, oh, you want to get back out there and give Wendy's, and then he accidentally gives her an out by this because she remembers him using this exact same line when he swung by to show Junior
what happens if you smoke pot.
Yeah, what happens if you smoke pot? It turns into meth in your system, and you end up here.
Yeah, you end up dating this lady.
Yeah.
So you're the one who's trying to get me to fuck that kid. I ain't saying anything. Give me my root beer. Really great moment. So they have to cut Jesse loose, but Hank says, I got one more shot.
Yes.
At him. So we're going to get to that. Walt is talking to the psychologist. I really like the scene.
Yeah.
He's like, is this necessary? I just really want to leave. The doctor says this is serious. And then Walt, you can see the wheels turning in his head.
Mm-hmm.
He says, hey, can we speak a little bit about doctor-patient confidentiality? The doctor here, this feels not source check to me or not real. The psychologist says, if you told me you were going to hurt somebody, I'd have to tell that person.
Which sees very ineffective.
It's actually very funny. Like, I just kept thinking, just like, listen, you don't know me, but one of my patients is going to kill you. Like, I can't go to the police, but you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I must go.
Hey, don't tell anybody I told you, but he's outside the house.
It's such a silly thing. Like, I'm pretty sure that the actual psychologist confidentiality is if they can alert authorities. Like, they can tell DFCS or Child Protective Services,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. Like they can contact the appropriate authorities, if it's necessary. You know, I love that line. It's very funny. It reminds me of self-surgery and on Trauma Center Under the Knife. Like it's just like a silly way that a professional job that's kind of a black box could work. You know,
but they're trying to get it set up so to where in this fiction, if Walt did admit to a crime, he would not be able to go and tell the authorities, right? But Walt doesn't admit to a crime. He kind of gives his own, basically says everything up to but not including, and then I decided to go cook meth. He's giving his version of the speech that Skylar gave to Hank about giving Maria a break. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Like, I'm this. Like, I faked it. There's no fugue state. I couldn't spend another second in that house. And the psychologist says, "What did you run from?" That's where he lays it all out. Well, good scene. Well performed.
And the thing is, like, so you stripped naked and went into a gas station or went into a grocery store because.
Because this would hide your lie. And he's like, yeah, that's me.
Yep.
Welcome to Walter White Town.
I'm a wild and crazy guy. And you ask why I ran.
Yeah. Back in the interrogation room, Hank, they brought in Hector Salamanca. And they bring him in, they go and past Jesse, and Jesse's face like fucking drops. He's just like, oh, I'm fucked.
He just goes completely slack. And he tries to do a little bit of what he did with Tuco. Back at the house there, like, oh, he's got no idea what's going on. Like, oh, he doesn't know what planet he's on. And they prove, like, okay, well, are we on Mars? Are we on Venus? And like, it's down to like, what day is it? Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? And dings on Tuesday. Hector's fully aware.
Yeah, he always has been.
Yeah,
and Jesse knew this. It was just a Hail Mary kind of thing. They go through the questions and they eventually ask him, hey, was this guy at your house yesterday? But Hector won't rat. He won't ring the bell. He just kind of like mad dogs Jesse. And Hank's like, don't you want to help us out? And this is where Hector like leans up and takes an incredibly wet, messy shit.
It is, I don't want to get too gross. We see just what looks like brown rusty water like fall on the floor beneath it. Like it is the wateriest shit that has ever happened. It's
as our bodies grow old and like, this kind of thing happens to us. I dread it every moment. Yeah. Like I'm not doing great now.
Yeah.
In terms of shits. Like I the fact that it's going to get worse before it gets better is
and by gets better, you mean the sweet release of death?
Okay. Yeah. I mean probably the absolute like killer BMs you take in heaven.
Oh yeah.
The 7 of them that you take.
Nothing but net. No need to wipe.
Nothing but net nonstop, and then God gives you a high five. He flushes for you and then he wipes you up. Gross. Super gross. But yeah, they just do this incredible, this really horrible thing.
Yeah.
And everyone just reacts like, oh God.
Well, they react like something horrible just happened, which is
something horrible did happen. I love Jesse putting his head in his hands like, fuck this. Like, what the hell, man? It's really good.
But Gomi explains, Hector's OG. He kept his mouth shut for 17 years in San Quentin. These old school cartel guys, they do not talk to feds.
Yeah, he's not going to rat to the DEA. Yeah, of course he's not. So Jesse is out in the lobby. He's calling his dad for a ride, but his dad won't even give him a ride.
Yeah,
he says he's got to lead on a job. He's going to try to reconcile with his parents one last time. The next couple episodes. He was using Wendy's phone and they decided should we go to Waffle House? And Waffle House is good.
What else would you do?
Yeah, it's the only option.
Yeah. So Walt's in the hospital room and he gets a phone call from Jesse. It's nighttime. And Walt is more concerned about whether he's implicated than he is about Jesse's very real concern about the fact that he's broke. He had $67,000 and then it's gone.
Yeah, now he's got nothing, He asks if Badger's cousin can fix the RV. And Jesse's like, why? He's like, so we can cook. And Jesse is shocked by this.
Yeah.
And he puts on the Heisenberg voice. He goes, what's changed, Jesse? and hangs up. He's trying to teach him a lesson.
So much has changed, Walt.
Yeah, a lot has changed, my man.
Yeah.
So he gets in bed, he's doing his money calculations, and he gets to the part where he's talking about cash on hand and realizes he left the diaper box of crime at home. So he breaks out of the hospital. He sneaks out.
Yeah.
Hotline Miami style.
I love this scene when he gets there. Because, he's got to skulk around to get inside, and he's, looking left, looking right, and figuring, okay, are they home? And he goes and, puts the gun and the money in the vent and replaces everything. But he gets startled when Skylar goes out to the kitchen, and then Junior comes out and joins her. And we get this kind of sweet scene where Walt gets just a glimpse at what life is like without him.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Yeah. Like his wife and his son embrace.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot.
They have.
This is him being confronted, not what their life would be without him, but also rubbing his nose in what he's put them through.
Yes.
And that's going to continue when he leaves and he sees the missing person flyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like in order for this plan to work and to do all this stuff because of these choices I made, I gave my family these sleepless nights and this much trauma.
Yeah. I gave them the worst 2 days of their life so far.
Yeah. And was it the worst 2 days of my life? I don't know. I had to kill a dude. It might be, but it's up there.
Yeah.
But still my choices are impacting other people. He is a corruption, Yeah. He gets back in a real weird move. He gets back to the hospital and sticks the IV just kind of haphazardly back into his hand anywhere.
Oh God, I hate this. I hate it so much.
I hate it too. It's not the way they work.
No.
You don't just put them anywhere.
Nope.
And also in a million years, why wouldn't you be like, hey, nurse, this came out?
Yeah.
And then she'll come put it back in. They do that with a catheter. Anybody who's spent any time with somebody in a hospital, they don't just you usually just have a needle just going directly into an arm like that deep and that thick. They set up a little plastic thing so they can change the needle.
Yeah, because the needle hurts. It's metal. It's hard.
Yeah. The whole thing is very unpleasant. You don't just go, and stick it back in. It's awful.
I hate IVs so much.
Yeah, I don't care for it either. Even as an adult, I'll get my blood taken, and this isn't an IV; it's just a needle. But I don't like looking at it.
No,
I can do it. I'm a big boy, but I hate looking at it. Seeing it pierce the shield of my flesh is gross.
Yes.
It makes me I feel like jumping out of my skin. I really can't do it.
Just I have had a vasovagal reaction to giving blood before, and I had a nurse rush over and give me the smelling salts or whatever. I really don't like anything that reminds me how mechanical our bodies are.
No, I just want to be like a Stretch Armstrong. I never want to know what's inside.
Yeah.
Like a black box Stretch Armstrong. Just Dave Grohl's face on the side. That is the text for his biography. Where are you going with this, Dave?
Oh gosh.
He looks at the painting again.
Yeah.
That guy's leaving his family for a life of adventure. Should I?
So Hank is in his office. It's nighttime. He's obsessively going through the footage from the chemical storehouse, saying that meth that we found on Tuco, that was cooked P2P style, and it matches the purity of the white meth that we found on Crazy 8. There has to be somebody that we're not accounting for.
Yep, we got a new player in town.
Yeah,
he asked him to go to the bar. He's like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. He's like, hey, I'm buying. Etc. This is all a ruse to get him to come out for a surprise party. You murdered a guy surprise party. They give him a cake with this really horrible drawing of Hank with a gun. It's very funny.
I don't know what's going on with his belly. It looks like he's got a big saggy ass hanging off of his sternum.
It's really a sick Hank. It's exceedingly sick Hank.
My Hank is sick.
Yeah, it's really Marge Crunking of Hank drawings. I am very surprised Hank Cake has never become a meme in this, because it's very rife for it. Very ripe for it.
Yeah. And they give him a gift, and he calls them a bunch of sick freaks, which is not unearned.
This is a psychopathic fucking DA office. Everything about this is very unprofessional.
Yeah. And Walt's getting ready to leave. It's kind of the next day, and Walt is getting dressed, getting ready to leave the hospital room. And Junior, in kind of a first sign of how infantilized he's going to be, which is a thing that happens. Junior's like, hey, you need to stay hydrated. The doctor said stay hydrated. Finish your juice. Walt said, no, I'm not thirsty. Finish the juice, Dad.
Yeah, you got to finish the juice, like doctor's orders.
Yeah.
Hank comes to visit them. And Walt says what they called it, the Fugue State's episode of transient global amnesia.
Real last thing. That was the diagnosis that my grandpa got when he lost his memory. He's dead now. It's fine. Lost his memory the day after Barack Obama won the election.
Oh. And, a big shock to the system, eh?
Yeah. I love my grandpa, but it was not a great. It was like, really, that's what put you over the edge, bud.
Oh, buddy.
It was real sad, and also it was kind of the big kickoff for the long slide of dementia until his passing 10 years later. So
it's a bummer. Yeah. Again, the way our bodies, liquid shits are the best we can hope for. It sucks.
I pray for liquid shits.
I know, nightly. Walt at this point apologizes for being Hank in danger. This is a thing that's going to recur in this show, where I really love it. I think it's really deft, where Walt and Heisenberg are apologizing. So like the acting version of Walt, he's apologizing.
Yes.
But he actually is really apologizing, for all so he's apologizing as a performance, but also with all the knowledge he has.
Yes.
This happens a few times in the series, and I think it's really clever.
Yeah. It's an apology that's like 15% in admission.
Yes, exactly. Like, and he does this a few times. Yeah. It's deft writing. He says, don't apologize. They're treating me like Elliot Ness. Hey, you ought to disappear more often. Don't do that. This fucking sucked. But he's like, I gotta show you something. And he shows him Tuco's grill, preserved in a curiously cube shaped piece of lucite.
Does he have that because Tuco got iced?
I think it's actually because of meth, because meth is called ice.
Well, it could be both.
Or we're both right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's called the triangle of being right.
Yeah, the triangle of being right online. You've drawn all the connections. You are the good boy, Wikipedia guy. And he's really taken aback by this. Walt, when he gets home, he plays really emotional about how good it is to be there, and Skylar and Junior are acting pretty weird. Specifically, Skylar.
Yes.
She is not into this. He is desperately just trying to get back to his old life. And again, it is one of those things where it's an act, but also he wants this so bad. This is what he was scared of losing.
Yes.
Through the act of being a shithead and lying and stuff, he is denying himself humanity. He had the very human experience of feeling like he would lose all of this stuff.
Yeah.
In order to get it back, he can't have it. It's the tragedy, where you can get, when I talk about sympathy for Walter White, like it's not, you got to hand it to him. He's the architect of his own, failures, but that's the humanity part I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like that is almost, that's like a Greek myth kind of thing.
Yeah.
That is a essential tragedy.
It's one of the answers to his question to Jesse coming back to him. He was arrogant enough to think that, he got off scot-free. What's changed, right? Well, no, this thing has been bent so far, your home has been bent so far that it is never going to return to its original shape. Yeah.
Yep. It has changed a lot.
Yeah.
He tries the joke there. He takes off his clothes and he puts on the Heisenberg hat, and he's making a joke about showing up naked in the store. Yeah. He says, do you want anything from 7-Eleven? A big gulp or a Slim Jim, which are both very suggestive 7-Eleven items for your penis hanging out.
Big gulp. Oh no.
Yeah. It's no good, man.
Yeah. I didn't put that together.
Yeah. Do you want a big gulp or a Slim Jim? I
think they're out of footlongs.
Yeah. Welcome to the Jack Link. She kind of smiles a bit, and then she gets uncomfortable, and Walt, because he's not empathetic, thinks that she just is worried about him. He's got an ego on him. And she probably is worried about him, but he thinks that's all it is. Some reassurance will take care of this.
Yeah. So, this is never going to happen again. I promise you, which is not a,
it's not a promise you can make.
Again, it's like 20% at admission. Like, oh, I controlled this one. I'll make sure to control the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And then she asks about the second cell phone. He does the lie thing when he's lying, that's weird. I don't have that. She says what happened, you disappeared. And he's like, I don't remember that, and he really expects it to be enough. He goes in for a kiss and she turns away, and it's brutal. It's, it's rough. It's sad. Like, he deserves it, but it's also fucking sad.
Yeah.
And that's our ending. Like, that's our new status quo right now, is things are not good in the White House.
No. It's a big problem.
Yep. Really big problem. Good episode. Taking stock, putting things in order after the explosions of last episode. Yeah.
And we're going to be in kind of rearranging stuff mode, at least for another episode.
Yes.
Watch. I'm going to see, like, our next time will be Better Call Saul. No, but
we actually have a few for Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
We're going to get back into cooking meth soon.
Yes.
The next episode is another place setting one. And then we get into where Badger gets arrested.
Yes. By DJ Coles.
When they get shaken. Before they get arrested, they get shaken down.
Oh, yeah.
Peekaboo coming.
Yeah, there we go.
Like, we got some good shit coming. We got some good, scary, tense episodes coming. We have the whole Jane arc happens. Like, we have so much stuff in season 2. Season 2 is such a beautiful mess.
Yeah.
On this show. Have you met John Delancey yet?
He's out there.
Yeah, he's out there hanging around, doing his own little stories. That's going to be it for this episode. So,
thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, hope you had fun. If you like this show, ratings, reviews, hugely important, especially while the show is relatively early. You can also support us at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. We really appreciate that. A little bit helps. And at $5, you get access to a whole bunch of cool shows. At $10, you get access to even more shows. And those are archival. You get the old ones as well. It's all great.
Yeah. People are always starting their first watch of Breaking Bad. Or starting a rewatch. I think the show might be more appropriate for a rewatch. If you know anybody who's doing one of those, send them our way.
Yeah, they might have fun revisiting. Yes, which I hope they do. And then big thanks to Gwen, our producer and composer of the theme song for the show.
Thank you very much, Gwen.
Yeah, and until next time, we need a part for a Power Pro Mesher Stracamac Pro.
Yep.
Got it in 2.